Listen up, hockey fans. You're in the right place. A no-hold-barred debate between two hockey fans. Stay up to date on current issues in the NHL, even the controversial ones. Welcome to The Debate Hockey Podcast with your host, Brad Burud.
Oh, it's time for The Debate Hockey Podcast, episode number 149. I am the host of the show, Brad Burud, joined alongside my co-host, Blake Friars. Stanley Cup wraps up tonight. Tampa Bay Lightning back-to-back Stanley Cup champions.
Yep.
And as much as I enjoyed the playoffs and as much as I enjoyed the season this year and everything,
yep,
I'm glad we have a little bit of time without hockey now, because literally we've been going for a year straight.
Yeah, there's really no the Stanley
really
Cup
no break.
Stanley Cup ended in
September 28th.
September, right?
September, yeah.
And then there was free agency, the draft, yada yada yada, and then we started in what?
January 1.
January 1. Like we had maybe a month off last year.
Yeah. So it seems like it's been balls to the wall.
And then next week, starting the 21st, it's going to be GM's week, right? They have the expansion draft, the NHL draft, and then free agency kind of starting that week, and that's going to be an interesting week. There's going to be a lot of
those important dates at the end of the show tonight.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was
quick thought on your mayor jinx. What is that mayor doing?
Yeah, I am not sure. I mean, if that came back to backfire, that would have been an all-time you're getting clowned for the rest of your life moment. Like that we take it easy on him, let him win at home and come back win in game 5. I said to my dad.
I mean, I understand her thinking.
100%. You want to win at home, but dude, you don't be saying that shit on live TV. Come on. It worked out for him. It worked out.
It did work out. I just thought, oh God, jinx. We survived another Canada Day and a 4th of July, even though we had heat that was.
Oh, it has been ridiculous here. It is almost too hot to go outside. The last few days.
Last Sunday, I thought I was going to die.
Dude, I couldn't imagine. My dad went out golfing on Canada Day there. I said, you are crazy, bro.
I've been out golfing.
It is too hot to golf.
I don't know what happened. My golf game went to shit about a week ago. 2 weeks ago. Yeah, I've been shitty for 2 weeks now.
You got the yips?
Oh, I can't chip worth of shit. And last night I played.
You know what? When you're around the green, what do you use?
It varies depending on what I got.
What do you use? If you're on the fringe, do you putt? Do you chip?
Pot. On the fringe, I putt.
I usually putt too. I either use a 7-iron, a little bump and run, or I pull out my driver. Honestly, just get a little putt and stroke with your driver off the fringe. I mean, hey, it works. I mean, because I can't. If I chip off the fringe, it is going over the green. I don't know what's up with that.
You got the yips like I got with it?
It's brutal. It's right around the green. I do not even look at my wedges. Not a chance.
Yeah, I struggle. I don't know what my problem is. Just when I thought I had my game rolling, I was in the 70s almost every round. All of a sudden, 84, 82, 86. What?
It's not even bad. The average golfer shoots 100, Brad.
Well, I know, but I don't want to be average.
Okay.
I like golf. I want to be a consistent 70s guy. And I feel like I can be. I just end up sucking.
It's hard to do though.
Yeah. A couple things we want to touch on before we get going in the show here. 2 things. Blake's got some repair work tomorrow on his foot, so
hopefully
down for the count for quite some time. So
hopefully 10 days.
Keep Blake in your prayers as he has a surgery that hopefully works and solves your problem.
Yep, 100%.
Couple other things. We're winding down with shows for this season as we get ready to do the Debate Hockey Podcast next year. A couple things will be changing. Blake and I will be back. The video will be back. We're looking at doing a live show next year on Monday nights. We'll see how that goes. That should be fun. That should add some interaction from the listeners. We are rebranding Inside Edge Hockey News. That'll now be the Inside Edge Hockey Media Group, since the website has pretty much went all to podcasts now. So that rebrand will be taking place as the summer goes along. Yeah, those are the things we wanted to talk about, but we will be back, and we'll be back with some new things next year, and yeah, it should be a lot of fun. But before we get to that, let's talk about what's on the show today as we wrap the Stanley Cup Finals, which ended just minutes ago. We'll talk about summer trade rumors as they heat up. We'll go around the NHL.
Vladdy Tarasenko. Talk about
ESPN. We'll talk about some resigns, coaches hired, Arvidsson traded in a tragic accident. A big thanks goes out to our sponsor, Manscaped. Get on over to their website, manscaped.com. Get yourself a lawnmower now. They got a 4.0. Blake and I use a 3.0, and they all work great. Get on over to manscaped.com. Alrighty, Blake. For all the listeners that don't know, Blake's a Vancouver Canucks fan that is transferred over to a Montreal Canadiens fan.
I hopped on the no. Let's backtrack here.
You were fucking driving the bandwagon.
I hopped on the bandwagon.
Hopped on it. You were driving it.
Hey,
you were driving it. It was embarrassing.
Okay. It was a fun ride. It was a fun ride.
Why you'd be cheering for them? I have no idea why.
I told you why I cheered for the Habs this run.
I understand you want the best for your dad, and I did too.
I'm just like,
but beyond that, it's embarrassing as a Canucks fan to even be cheering for the Canadiens.
Hold on. There's some backstory here. Toffoli was on the Canucks last year. Alex Burrows played 10 years. Alex Burrows, he wanted to stay the rest of his career. Jermaine didn't offer him a fucking contract. Alex Burrows is assistant coach. He played 12 years in a Canucks uniform. So I was rooting for him to get a cup. You know, it was just like...
You sure didn't get one in Vancouver.
I know. They fell short. Game 7, 2011. But, I mean, there's just really... I feel like there was just nobody on... Besides maybe Corey Perry, there's nobody on the Habs that you could hate. You know what I mean? Like, there's so...
there is.
I hate... Who? No, don't say Gallagher, dude. He just plays the game hard.
I don't really hate. He's not a cheap shot artist. I don't hate that.
No. He just Gallagher's a warrior.
Corey Perry's a cheap shot.
Okay, but Perry's a way different player than when he was in Anaheim, though.
Yeah, he is.
He's a completely different player. Like he's not I wouldn't call Corey Perry's got a dirty reputation, but I wouldn't call him dirty now.
He got booted out of the Winter Classic last year.
Yeah, no, for sure. I just said he's got a dirty reputation, but this year, I don't think Corey Perry did one dirty thing. Like I don't remember him getting a hearing or anything like that.
Because he knows now that if he's dirty, he gets his ass fucking handed to him because he's not a young man anymore, right?
All right.
I mean, am I wrong?
No, you got a point.
Let's take a look at how this series went as Tampa blows out Montreal in game 1, 5-1, handles them pretty easily in game 2, 3-1, game 3, even worse.
Oh, no.
3.
Pretty easy game 2. That was probably
an easy game.
That was Tampa Bay's probably most impressive win.
Which one?
Game 2.
Yeah, 3-1.
3-1 with an empty netter, though. They got outshot 2-1 that game.
Yeah, but they still won. They didn't play their best either.
It wasn't an easy game, though, for them.
No, but the next night was 6-3.
Right. Yep.
And then Montreal wins one in overtime in an exciting game 4 that I thought was really, really, really a good hockey game.
Yeah.
3-2 was that one. And then tonight I thought was about as horrifically boring of a representation of a Stanley Cup playoff game as you could get.
Well, I mean, you saw what Tampa Bay did. As soon as they got the lead, it was just trap up.
But I'm talking about the dude that's not a hockey fan flipping the channels is not a hockey fan after that game.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you got to realize what's at stake there, though. I mean, Tampa Bay, as soon as they got the lead, they just sat back and chipped and chased and ran 4 lines and did what they had to do to get to the finish line. But it relatively was a pretty boring cup. I'll agree with you there.
And I'm not trying to rip on Montreal because, like, I have actually a lot of friends who are Montreal Canadian fans, and I my condolences go out to them because I've been in their shoes. I mean, and Blake has too. And it seems like, you know what? Honestly, all my friends that are Montreal Canadian friends are good guys that aren't arrogant pieces of shit fans.
Right.
They're not. All of them that I can think of that are truly Montreal Canadiens fans are good guys. And so part of me was cheering a little bit for them. I don't know a lot of people personally that are Tampa Bay Lightning. I know one fan.
I know two.
But I when a team won it last year, I like to kind of share it around a little bit, I guess. So I don't know. I wasn't cheering for either team.
Just talk about how rare this is, though. I mean, it's only been done to win back-to-back Stanley Cup champs. Like, it's so rare. No, Chicago didn't do it. Chicago didn't do it. No, they won 3 and 5. They won 10, 12, or 10, 13, 15. So,
are you sure?
Yeah, Pittsburgh did it 16, 17.
Well, I know Detroit did it.
Detroit did it. Pittsburgh did it twice.
The Islanders did it in my life. I'm talking in my lifetime.
Okay, yeah.
Edmonton's done it in my lifetime.
Since 1998, it's only been done 3 times. Detroit, Pittsburgh, now Tampa Bay. Since I was born, it's happened 3 times. Yeah. So, I mean,
they could easily do it again next year.
I don't know about that. Like, look what they had to do just to get there. They had put $18 million in LTIR just to maintain a competitive team. Like, I think they're gonna have Blake Coleman. They're gonna have to make a decision because of Yanni Gord, Alex Killorn, and Ryan McDonough. They can only protect one of them. So
they're gonna lose players, no doubt about it.
They're gonna lose. Like,
you can take. I'm sorry, but you can take 2 players off Tampa Bay, and they're a hell of a lot better than most teams in the NHL.
Yeah, sure. I mean, but I mean, Blake Coleman's a free agent. He's probably want to get paid. I don't know how they're going to afford him.
Or not.
So I mean, you're probably going to lose 3, maybe 4 pieces off this team.
We said the same shit last year.
Yeah, and look what they did. Kucherov got surgery. Yeah, they figured it out. It's a loophole, but like, sure, props to them for figuring that out. But I mean, I'm not going to sit here and praise them for unbelievable cap management because they took advantage of a flawed loophole. You know what I mean?
It's flawed. Like they were talking to Bill Guerin today on.
You know what? Hold on.
He said, "Hey, we might need to use this." So
before we get to that, I think it was in 2014, maybe 2015, after Tampa Bay lost in the Cup final because the Chicago Blackhawks did that with Patrick Kane in 2015. He missed part of the season. He came back in the Cup final. You want to know what was really ironic? All teams voted on that loophole. One team said to get rid of it. The Tampa Bay Lightning voted to get rid of it. And all other 29 said, no way. Fast forward 6 years later, they're the one taking advantage of the same thing. It's like, I don't know. It's a little ironic there.
It's in there and it worked for them.
And it's going to stay in there because it's in the next CBA and it's already there for 4 more years, right? So,
and I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I mean, I just think that if you are on LTIR for the full season, I don't think you should be able to come back for the playoffs.
I know. We talked about this last show, and I don't disagree. But the fact of the matter is, it's in there. So,
and props to.
Is that going to be relevant?
I mean, I think more teams are going to look at it and probably do it now.
Really? So you think a lot of teams are built strong enough to sit out a guy with an injury? And still, I mean, think about that. Like, how many situations is that going to really be effective? Yeah. How many teams can you look at right now and be like, hey, we could take Leon Draisaitl and set him.
Right. Yeah, no.
I mean, think about it. Like, how many teams can do this?
Right.
This is a one-off. We're not going to see this for a decade. Like, seriously. Like, this team is freaking cocked and loaded and deserved everything they got.
I think Colorado could put Rantanen on LTIR and still be good.
Sure. But is Colorado, I mean, think about that, though. Like, you have to kind of build into that, though, don't you?
Right. No, you do. And it was the Tampa Bay bottom six that did most of the damage.
But Blake, I mean, and I know you're not arguing with me, but there is not one weak spot on this team. Their bottom six is the best in the league. Their top six is the best in the league. Their goaltending is the best in the league, and their freaking defense is the best in the league. And they hoisted the Stanley Cup tonight. Mm-hmm. Big shocker.
Yeah. No. And it just showed that. I mean, Montreal did a great job all throughout the playoffs just to get there, but it really showed in this final that they just didn't have enough depth. I mean,
I have never, and I'm not ripping the Montreal, but I have never in my life watched Stanley Cup final games and been like, there's no fucking prayer this team wins this.
Yeah.
I would have bet my
what I just don't understand how Montreal, first of all, John Merrill and Eric Gustafsson played 3 games too many. I mean, that it's simple. I mean, I don't know why Romanov wasn't in from game 1. I mean, he brought a lot to the table, and in the 2 games that he played, he had that big goal in game 4.
Decisions though that were
they're like Kotkaniemi getting scratched the last 2 games. Thomas Tatar didn't get a single game in the finals. I don't think he played a game against Vegas either. Which, I mean, this guy brings grit, he brings speed, and he scored 30 goals in the NHL in multiple seasons. Like a team that struggles to score, you would think that, you could find a spot for that guy to play,
I don't disagree. The Kotkaniemi one has got me puzzled. So here we were talking about this a little bit before the show. And okay, so you don't feel comfortable having him in a Stanley Cup Finals because you're worried about his face-offs. Mm-hmm. Okay, so he's a center for you, and he's a highly touted young prospect in your organization, and you don't trust him. Which, okay, I get that, but you put in this Evans kid who's been reputable and been fine. And I'm not ripping on him by any means by this comment, but does that show that you're giving up on this prospect? Because now next year, when you look at your things and you start the season off, winning in the regular season is just as important as winning the finals, because this Montreal team is going to struggle next year to make the playoffs in their division they're going to be in. Believe me, they're going to struggle. Yeah. So they're going to have to decide in game 1, do we put in Evans or Kotkaniemi? And I'll bet you a freaking $1 that they'll put in Kotkaniemi. And I don't understand that decision. So if you trust him in the regular season, he should have played tonight, got some experience, and grow with this team.
Right.
You just shit can this young prospect and plugged him into a hole.
Right. Yeah.
Like, I don't understand that.
Do you bring back Dominic Ducharme next year?
Oh, God, no. I thought all year I questioned coaching decisions he made.
What?
Well, isn't he signed for next year already?
No. They still have the interim tag on him. But, I mean, Luke Richardson did a good job when Ducharme got COVID. I think he did a great job stepping in there. But, I mean, I don't know,
man. I don't know. I guarantee they'll bring him back. They made the maybe fucking licking his sack for 3 years in Montreal. I mean, he's not there. He's back. Unless they hire Patrick Waugh, he's back.
You think that happens? A possibility?
I don't. Anything's possible, isn't it?
He was in the building for game 4.
How hilarious would that be? You know how? Okay, let's take. I think
that.
Would that be?
Yeah,
great.
Patrick. I mean, if I was a Habs fan, I'd be all over that. I mean,
but I don't think he's the best coach for the job.
I didn't think he did a bad job in Colorado. He just had bad teams. I mean, that was McKinnon's rookie season.
I know we never really got to see if he was any good, though. I mean,
that's what I'm saying. Like, they canned him after 2 years. I mean, I remember when Patrick Waugh pulled his goalie with 10 minutes left and they came back and won the game. Remember that? Pulled the goalie with 10 minutes left.
Tried to fight. Was it Bruce Boudreau?
He tried to through the glass there. Yeah.
God, I just.
But going back to Montreal, they just didn't have depth, and I mean, Carey Price was the sole reason why they were there in the first place, and he didn't have his best 1 through 3 games.
Say it again, Blake.
He didn't play very well. He played well the last 2 games, but I mean, you can't play bad for 3 games and good for 2 games and expect to win in the finals, especially against a team like that. But at the bottom line, though, the game was there for the taking for Montreal. Like
But
the
bottom line is this, Blake.
They had 3 power plays.
What we during our preseason conversation said about the Montreal Canadiens bit him in the ass. We said this team doesn't have scoring, doesn't have offense.
No.
And when you score game 1, 1 goal, game 2, 2 goal or 1 goal, and game 5, 0 goals, you're not going to win.
No. And Montreal all run was just that opportunistic scoring, right? A timely goal here, timely goal there, big power play goal here. They didn't have any of that against Tampa. They didn't have, Josh Anderson in game 4, a couple big goals, but other than that, they really didn't have much. And what more can you say about Vasilevsky though?
What did you think is Conn Smythe?
Oh, it was a hands down no brainer.
Okay, that's what I thought. I just wanted to make sure.
No brainer. The last 4 series they've won, all 4 series that Tampa Bay won this year, he's gotten a shutout.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he got a shutout in last game, Stanley Cup Final clinching game 2.
Yeah.
So I thought Vasilevsky should have won last year.
You know what's one thing I didn't understand this year, and probably the most frustrating thing for this whole Stanley Cup playoffs was the Montreal factor. 3,500 fans, and you got.
I was just gonna bring that up.
30,000 outside next to each other, not one of them with masks on.
Montreal
on each other, cheering and yelling and screaming like they should, and it's just idiotic. It's dumb. So idiotic.
It's so fucking dumb, dude.
I can't. I don't even have a word for
it. And that 1,000% would have made a difference.
Yes, it would have.
You put 20.
It doesn't change the outcome.
It doesn't. It's not going to make Montreal better than Tampa Bay. But dude, 22,000 fans screaming. That's intimidating. That is 1,000% intimidating.
I'm going to say something.
The Bell Center is one of the best atmospheres in the playoffs.
I'm going to say something right now, and then we're going to get off this topic. And
Canada is a joke as a government? Is that what you're going to say?
Well, with Trudeau wanting the special election, and I'm looking at the calendar, right? And if I had a kid rostered on a WHL team or a BCHL team, I would be pulling them and doing everything I can to get them rostered on a team in the United States. Because I think it's going to be a shit show again this year. I think travel is going to be messed up. I think teams are not going to be.
Well, we're going to find out. We're going to find out in 2 weeks if the Blue Jays are allowed back.
I don't think they will be.
Well, Toronto FC, the MLS soccer team is going back to Toronto July 17th. So that's good. That's good in terms of the Blue Jays coming back at the end of the month.
But Blake, this country is doing everything in their power to keep their people believing that they're all going to die. And the fear factor of fines and the fear factors is just rampant in that country, and it drives me crazy.
Listen, I have a trip.
I'm going to make, and we're going to go on. If it was dangerous for all these people to be together, you had 30,000 people side by side outside, you should have massive outbreaks if it is as bad as the government's telling you, and you don't. So what does that fucking tell you?
I know, but I have a trip planned to California at the beginning of August, and I am really counting down the days to go. I can't wait to get out of this.
Don't go to that state because you're not getting it any different than Canada. I'm telling you that right now.
No, I'm just saying it's just nice to get out, So I don't know.
It's too bad. I think the city of Montreal got ripped on this one.
They did. They tried their hardest too. The mayor and the owner, Molson, they tried to get 10,000 in that building, and they wouldn't budge. And
sad.
I was talking to my buddy. He's a big Habs fan. I said, listen, if you guys can find a way to win Game 5, if I was Bergevin and the owner, I would say, fuck it, 22,000. We're letting everybody in, and you take the fine. What are they going to do? Cancel the game?
What would happen if they just opened the doors? Or what if the fans outside would have just said, piss on it, we're taking over the arena? Bust the doors down. What would have happened?
I don't know.
What would have happened?
I would have just what I would have done if Montreal would have won tonight. I would have been like, all right, 22,000 tickets are available to be bought, and we're going to take the fine, whether it's 100,000 K. You're going to make so much money if you open the building.
No, but what would happen? I don't know. If the fans or they kick the doors in.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I mean, it's sad, dude, because I mean, the last time they went was 28 years ago. I mean, it's just shows you how rare it is to make a final. Like, I mean, it's been 10 years for me already. It's been how many years for you? 17 years? 04 to 18 years? Like, that's a long damn time.
Yeah, it is.
Like, it just shows you like that how rare of a run something like this is.
Big congratulations to the Montreal Canadiens on a big run, and even a bigger congratulations to the Tampa Bay Lightning on their second back-to-back Stanley Cup. Blake, let's talk about some summer trade rumors. A couple things I want to pick your brain on. We're going to roll through this a little bit quickly. Sounds like Duncan Keith may be out of Chicago and landing in a Western Canadian destination. Everybody's speculated in Edmonton. Is this a guy that other teams want?
I think if Chicago retains half the salary, I think
he's only making $5-something million,
$5.5 million, yeah, for the next 2 seasons. So
he's old.
He is getting up there in age. But that being said, if Edmonton can trade one of their prospects and maybe a second round pick for them to retain half the salary, if you bring in Duncan Keith for $2.5 million, that is, first of all, he's won 3 Stanley Cups.
But why would you do that if you're Chicago?
Because you get a pick and a good defensive prospect back. I would do that if I was Edmonton, because like I just said, he's a veteran, he's a 3-time Stanley Cup champion, and he anchors that blue line. I mean, he's been good on the PK, good on the PP. It's a leader in that room that doesn't have a lot of them. That a team doesn't have a lot of leadership, Brad. I think it would make a lot of sense. I hope to God he doesn't go to Vancouver. Hell no. I do not want that guy.
He won't go to Calgary.
It's either Edmonton. If it is strictly Western Canada and like the western part, it's either Seattle or Edmonton. That's the only 2 teams that make sense.
Well, there was rumors of Seattle too.
I mean, that's the only 2 teams that make sense.
Oh, yeah. I don't know, man.
Like, would you not agree?
Well, yeah.
Like, I don't see it fit in Vancouver, and I don't see it fit in Calgary. So I mean, I see more of a fit in Vancouver. For where though?
Your defense isn't good.
And Duncan Keith is not as good as he once was, though. So is it really an upgrade?
I couldn't agree more.
Like he's like 7 years removed from his 60-point seasons.
You guys have signed a lot of players that were not upgrades, Blake.
We're not talking about Vancouver. Like, what are we talking about next? Like, Jesus, come on.
Jack Eichel. Is he getting moved or not?
Well, I mean, they're asking for the stars and moon for this guy. So, I mean, until they bring down that asking price, I don't think he's going anywhere.
I don't either.
They want like they want a top prospect. They want 2 further. They want this. I'm like, dude, it's not happening. One of my buddies who's a Leaf fan said this.
Oh, God.
Would you trade Mitch Marner for Jack Eichel? And I was like,
well, yeah, but you can't afford him.
They make the same salary. Marner makes 10. Marner makes 10.9, and Eichel makes 10. So I mean, that would be a hockey trade. We haven't seen it.
Would Buffalo? I mean, Buffalo would have to be like smoking crack to do that.
I mean, you would have to give up more with Marner. It wouldn't be straight up. It'd be like Marner and a couple picks and a prospect probably. But I mean, I think it's going to take something like that to get it done, because it's got to be money in, money out. You know what I mean? No team can just take $10 million salary with giving picks and prospects back. There has to be money involved.
I think this is an impossible trade to pull off.
I think it is too. Like, and his injury concerns, like he needs surgery, but they want a team to trade for him and take the risk. I'm like, no, dude, this guy's gonna get surgery before he gets traded.
To do that,
dude. I read an article on The Athletic, and they're like, yeah, Buffalo doesn't want him to get the surgery. I was like, well, what are we doing here?
Seth Jones, trade interest there with Philadelphia, Colorado, Chicago. Thoughts?
Whoa, hold on. Wow. Alex Killorn had surgery to insert a rod in his leg last week. And he was a game time decision in the last 3 games. He warmed up all 3 games with a broken leg. Not wild.
Mm-hmm. That only in hockey. It wouldn't happen in basketball.
That is insane. Man.
Seth Jones. Let's talk Seth Jones.
Seth Jones. What was your question? Like, is he get traded?
Well, does he get traded? There was rumors that Colorado was kicking tires on Seth Jones.
Colorado can't afford him.
Philadelphia
could use him. Well, why would Chicago do that?
Why wouldn't you?
I mean, Chicago is
Seth
entering
Jones catapult your rebuild.
No, 100%. But like, I mean, is Seth Jones the type of guy that you want to trade for in this stage of Chicago's? You think so?
Yes.
Because you're gonna have to give up good assets for him, though.
Yes.
Because it might set back your rebuild even more.
Yes.
Like,
There's no guarantee on assets, but there's a guarantee Seth Jones is a top end defenseman for you, right?
I know I predicted Eichel to go to LA, but I wouldn't be surprised if they kick tires on this guy too.
You've got everybody in the whole freaking league.
I only said two.
You said Jack Eichel. You said
and Seth Jones. So that's it. That's all I've said. That was the only 2 that I said. Like I'm just saying, LA can get a lot. LA has a lot of options because they got the pick, they got the prospect capital, and they got the money to do it. They have a lot of options. But Seth Jones says he's not sure if he would sign an extension in Canada. So I kind of there was rumors of him maybe going to Toronto. Like I don't see that happening. Like
the break,
like a Marner for Seth Jones swap. You wouldn't do that?
Oh, Jesus. No, I wouldn't do that. If I was Columbus, I wouldn't do that because Marner's grossly overpaid.
They were interested in offer sheeting him 2 years ago, Brad.
And he has proven in the last 2 years that he is grossly overpaid.
Yeah. They were ready to offer him $13 million, though. So
it would have been a mistake. It would have been a horrible mistake. The guy is dog shit in the playoffs.
Yeah. I agree.
Vladimir Tarasenko.
Now, this came out of left field for me.
Nah.
It came out of left field, Brad.
Why is this guy asking for a trade? He's still got.
This guy hasn't stayed healthy in 2 seasons, right? Yeah. He didn't play much last year. He didn't play much this year. I think he's got 2 years left at $8.5 million, $7.5 million, something like that.
Mm-hmm. Whatever 60 million divided by 8 is.
He signed an 8-year, $60 million. You said?
Yep.
Okay, let me do this.
2 years left of it, so 7.
Let me pull out the calculator.
7.5. I just did it.
Yeah, 7.5 next 2 seasons. So, where do you see this guy going? Like, I don't know if I don't think they can trade him.
Who would want that? Who's freaking paying that?
I mean, if this guy gets traded, St. Louis is going to be eating contract.
For sure. A lot of contract.
They're going to have to eat. So this guy's owed $15 million the next 2 seasons. They're going to have to at least eat 5.
They're not doing that.
Why not? If it gets you first round picks and a top prospect, you wouldn't do it?
You think he's going to get you a first round pick?
If you eat $5 million, yes. Because that means you get Tarasenko for $5 million for 2 years. And I think a lot of teams would be interested in that. If they retain $2.5 million each season of his contract, I think a lot of teams would come calling. And they would offer him a lot to trade for him. I mean, yeah, but there's no denying that this guy isn't one of the best players in the world when healthy. It's definitely a gamble for sure. 100% a gamble. But like I said, if St. Louis retains $5 million to get back a better package, I think they'd be open to that.
Yeah. Could possibly be. Yeah. We'll see. That's going to be an interesting one to see. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I don't know what happens with that one.
I mean, nobody's taking him for 7.5. I'll tell you that right now.
You just look at all these guys that are rumored to be on the move, and it's like, yeah, I mean, I could see it happening, but like really? Like, is there enough teams that have the money to do this? I mean,
right.
I don't know. It's just going to be weird.
Inside Edge Hockey News, lighting the lamp and raising the cup.
Let's go around the National Hockey League and talk about some odds and ends in the league. ESPN announced their television roster for next year as hockey in the States will be seen on the TBS network. Also ABC, ESPN, ESPN Plus, and Hulu, part of the ESPN package. Let's just talk about some of the key ones. I was happy to see John Buccigross on there. I don't know if you knew who he is.
Yep.
College hockey in the U.S. Very, very good. Cassie Campbell, I had a chuckle. Not going to rip on her. I think she's super knowledgeable. I'm just
wait. What are we talking about? What are we talking about?
This is the roster for ESPN next year.
Okay.
So Cassie Campbell is leaving Sportsnet and going to ESPN. And I was happy because now I don't have to listen to her on Flames games. But we'll move on from there. They've also hired Emily Kaplan, Hillary Knight. Kevin Weeks will be moving from NHL Network over. Mark Messier was signed as an analyst along with Barry Melrose,
and Chris Chelios.
Leah Hextall is going to be doing one of the play-by-plays. Along with John Buccigross will be doing play-by-play. I think he'll be really, really good. Sean McDonough is going to be doing play-by-play along with Bob Weishton. Ray Ferraro will be an analyst. Brian Boucher will be an analyst.
Yeah, and that Ray Ferraro is great. I mean, that's a huge get for them. And honestly, Brad, I hope Gord Miller goes over there too. Because right now, Gord Miller, he only does regional TSN games. Sportsnet didn't pick him up. So if ESPN's smart, call up Gordy Miller. He works with Ray Ferraro. I mean, why not? That'd be a great voice. I mean, he was great for NBC all those years. I think that'd be fantastic.
Oh, and I forget Steve Levy, one of the most well-known U.S. play-by-play will be there. I remember him doing a lot of ESPN stuff in the past.
Yeah.
Rick DiPietro is an analyst. Is he still being paid by the Islanders, or is that done?
Every July 1st till 2026.
Holy shit. Mark Messier, that one surprised me a little bit.
I don't know. He's in the commercials, so I don't think that'd be a bad transition for him.
Oh, you're bad.
I think it's good to have a guy like Mark Messier on there. No? It doesn't hurt at all. It's like TNT getting Wayne Gretzky.
He's a wealth of knowledge. I know that. I mean,
like I said, you're trying to grow the game down the States and the southern parts of the U.S.
Stop trying to grow the game.
In the southern parts of the U.S., you are.
No, we're not.
You are.
Why?
In the southern parts, you are.
Blake, we've been there for 20 fucking plus years. It's done growing.
It could grow even more.
It's done growing.
Okay.
20 fucking plus years. Kids are growing out of the house in 20 years.
Go on ESPN real quick on your computer and go to sports and see where there's a tab for NHL there.
There's not.
Is that like, what do you mean? That's a problem.
Like, I've said that from the beginning.
That's a problem.
I've said it from the beginning.
This corporation just signed the NHL's rights for 8 years.
Yeah, but
don't you think they should be getting a little more love on Sportsnet?
They are the first page of ESPN right now is all hockey.
Oh no shit! Tampa Bay just won the Stanley Cup,
and then they do have a top tab now.
Oh, they do. Wow. Okay, they're
a top tab now.
I stand corrected.
So that just happened not too long ago. So
yeah, I mean, when I looked at it, it was there wasn't even any news on there.
I'm not a huge ESPN.
Okay, but with that being said, in the United States,
I watch Sportsnet. I live in the United States and I watch Sportsnet.
I don't blame you. Sportsnet's great, and so is TSN. I think they're both great. But going back to TSN, of the four major sports down south, hockey is number 4.
And it will stay number 4.
And hockey, people might even watch soccer or
No.
tennis or esports more than hockey in some states.
Not tennis and esports. Soccer probably in a lot of areas, yeah.
Like, what I'm saying? Like hockey in
soccer is pretty big up in Canada too. So
right. I'm just saying, like, hockey is the bottom line is hockey's not as popular in the United States as it is in Canada. It's just like
it never will be.
Like
we're
that,
not
but
fucking cold, Blake. We're not cold like Canada.
I know, but I'm saying like
teams of hockey don't fucking break out in Oklahoma City.
I know that.
Different. It's not gonna happen.
But I'm just saying though, like, was ESPN and TNT signing this contract? Is that a hope that more people watch the sport?
Sure, but it will never be a top 2 sport. It won't even be a top 3 sport. It'll never overtake the NFL,
NBA, MLB. Yeah,
it might take over MLB. That's the only one.
I don't know.
That's because baseball's so fucking boring and makes me cringe when I watch it. That's the only way. Okay, enough for that rant, right? Let's talk about some re-signings. Wild sign Joel Eriksson Ek to an 8-year, $42 million deal, 5.25 AAV through 28-29. What's your thoughts here?
My thoughts are whatever Bill Guerin is smoking, I want some right now.
Like, I like Joel Eriksson Ek. I think he's really good. And I don't know that he's not worth $5 million for maybe
not for 8 years,
maybe 4 years.
No shot.
They didn't learn on the Parisi problems. They didn't. I just don't understand. I don't understand this team.
This guy is worth 5.25 over 4 years. 5 max. There's no shot in hell this guy's worth 8 years. That is going to be a contract. It's going to handcuff him pretty good for a team that's already hand strapped right now.
And they got to sign Kaprizov too. I don't
know. So, what's your thoughts on that?
Well, he'll sign because his only option is to go back to the KHL or to the Minnesota Wild, and he doesn't want to go back to the KHL.
How do you know?
Why in God's green earth would you come over here if you didn't want to stay here?
Money. If Minnesota's not going to get money, he won't go back to the KHL.
Then go.
Look what Kovalchuk did.
Then go. He's at a way different part of his career than Kovalchuk.
I'm just saying, why did Kovalchuk go to the KHL after the Devils lost in the Cup final in 2014? He went there because of money. It happens. Russian athletes are stupidly selfish when it comes to money.
Yeah, but you don't even know if you're going to get paid.
100% the KHL will pay him. 100%.
Will the money get into the account though, or will it get stolen out of the account, or will your
listen? Okay, what is Kaprizov worth?
I would tell him. I'll tell you what. I'm going to give you 3 years at 5.75, and then we'll reevaluate for a big deal at the end of that.
This guy wants like 8 times 8. I saw.
I know he does. He's not getting
no shot.
He has no leverage. He has no leverage, Blake. There's no leverage.
Like, he's an RFA. He's got. Can a team offer sheet him?
Nope. Not enough time in the league. Can't be offer sheeted. He has 2 choices: KHL, Minnesota Wild. That's all.
Yeah, I know. I don't know. That's weird. I would give him a 2-year, $10 million contract. $5 million a year.
Ryan Nugent-Hopkins resigns on Edmonton on another glorious 8-year deal.
I like this deal though, because Ryan Nugent-Hopkins is a very integral piece to that team. And
he wins. He's an integral piece to a team that never does anything.
He took a $1 million pay cut to stay with them. And I respect that, because he was making $6 million on his previous contract. And we talked about this, a month ago? We said he's probably not getting anything more than 6, and he might not get 6. And here he settles for 5.25, 5.6.
Sign of the times, my friend. Sign of the times.
I think we're going to see a lot of guys that if they want term, you're going to have to take less AAV. I think we're going to see a lot of this. If you want short term, AV goes up, right? Like we're gonna see more of this, like contracts like the Nugent Hopkins contract. Edmonton took care of their guy, right? 8-year deal. Okay, we'll give you 8 years of security, but you're taking like $5 million a year. And I think Nugent Hopkins and Edmonton, I think that was a great negotiation.
Yeah, I don't know. I still think 8-year contracts are completely ludicrous.
I mean, his production, it hasn't been going down. It hasn't been trending down, though.
But I'm not saying Ryan Nugent Hopkins isn't a good player, because I think he is, and I think he'd be a great player on a lot of teams. But I keep looking at this Edmonton Oilers team, and I keep thinking, McDavid, Draisaitl, Nugent Hopkins, Larson, fuck me. They never win. Like, how long can we keep running with this same core?
Right.
Like, it's no different than in Calgary.
Yeah,
like, you can kick the horse like how many times before it's like, this horse isn't going to run for me.
I don't know, man. It's like,
well,
I think that Peter Chiarelli set that team back so much.
He did.
And now Ken Holland's slowly piecing together a team. I think they let go of Adam Larson. I don't think he's back.
Now their D's really bad, Don.
I think they're going to, well, they got to re-sign Tyson Barrie.
They won't.
They have to re-sign Tyson Barrie.
They won't. They don't have the money to.
You want to know something? Out of all pending UFAs, point totals, guess where Tyson Barrie was this year? Out of everybody.
He's not a good defenseman.
Number 2.
He's not a good defenseman.
It doesn't matter. Look what he did for that power play. Look what he did offensively from the back end. I don't think Edmonton cares about that. They're getting They're getting Clefbaum back, who is a defensive specialist, and I think that's. I think if you have Darnell Nurse, Clefbaum, Tyson Barrie, and hopefully like an Evan Bouchard or Philip Broberg can come up and take the next step in the NHL, I think that would be a perfect world for the Oilers. And maybe you go out and sign a Travis Hamonic on the right side to shore up that side. Like, I think they need somebody on the right side that can stabilize that second pairing.
Okay, so let me ask you this.
Okay.
How much are you giving Tyson Barrie?
Well, he took $3.5 million. I give him $4 million.
I don't think he's signed. Why would he sign for that? If he's the second highest point getter of all the free agents, why is he going to sign for that?
Okay, he's going to look and say, I got a chance to resurrect my career in Edmonton, play with McDavid, play with Draisaitl, be on one of the best power plays in the league, get a shit ton of playing time, and I like the system I have going in Edmonton. I'm going to take less, just like Ryan Nugent Hopkins did. I think there's Tyson Barrie bet on himself. Tyson Barrie bet on himself, and it worked. And I think he'll do it again.
So he's gonna bet on himself.
Mm-hmm.
He bet on himself the first time to get rewarded in the end, right?
Yep. And he's gonna get rewarded. He's gonna get rewarded with term. That's what he's gonna get rewarded with. He's gonna get a 3-year deal for $4 million per season.
And knock, they still have no goalie in Edmonton.
Yeah, I mean, that's always going to be an ongoing issue. I think they'll bring Mike Smith back to be their backup. I think he did. I think he was a fantastic goalie for them this year. I think they buy out Koskinen.
40 next year.
That's fine though. He's been good though. He takes care of himself. He stays in shape. Mike Smith was great this year. I mean, no problems if I'm an Oilers fan with Mike Smith as a backup goalie. I mean, he's not going to be starting 60 games for me next year if that's what you're asking me. They need to find a starting goalie. I think they buy out the last year of Koskinen's contract. Colorado is in a stall with Philip Grubauer right now for contracts. Does Edmonton maybe offer Philip Grubauer some money? What do you think about that?
I don't know. Is Philip Grubauer the guy that's going to win you the cup?
I mean, Philip Grubauer didn't play that bad the last couple seasons.
I agree. I completely agree.
I mean, he's going to probably compare himself to Jacob Markstrom's contract.
So how much does Edmonton have to spend on a goalie? If they're going to give Tyson Barrie money and they got to give...
Hold on. Let me go...
They had $16 million. and they got to sign a bunch of guys.
Let me go to my favorite website here. Cap friendly.
We don't need to harp on this. I mean, we got other things to talk about, but I'm just looking at this going, well, next year you got to pay Pooley RV.
How much will that cost, though? Like, honest question, like $2 million?
More than that.
Okay, so
he's going to keep
$16 million. Dominic Cahoon will sign for the minimum. Okay. Tyler Ennis will sign for the minimum. Alex Chason will sign for like $1.5 million if they want to bring him back. Slater Kucher's not coming back. Kulikov's not coming back, and Adam Larson's not coming back. Okay, so your defense, like I said, Darnell Nurse,
Yamamoto,
$1.5 million, $2 million. What's he done? Clefbaum, Nurse, you got Tyson Barrie, you bring him back. And then, like I said, you got to hope that Evan Bouchard or Philip Broberg can take the next step. They're on entry-level contracts. That's gravy. If they do good, that's gravy, right? Caleb Jones, another guy that could play. Chris Russell, veteran guy who's under contract for one more season. Like, their decor isn't that bad. Like, it's not as bad as people think.
All right. Enough Oilers talk. 2 head coaches signed this last week, and it could have been who gives a shit more news than this? As Buffalo hires Don Granato as head coach, and Arizona hires Andre Turgeon.
Yeah, I don't know.
Who cares? I laughed when I saw these. And that's how long we're going to talk about it, because that's what I think about it. I think they're so irrelevant, I couldn't even think of anything more irrelevant.
Oh, did we? What's the name went to Seattle too? Have we talked about that?
Dave Haxtell.
Dave Haxtell, old Sioux coach.
Yep, University of North Dakota coach. The head coach in Philadelphia for a couple of years, and was the assistant in Toronto for quite some time now. Takes the Seattle expansion job. And Dave Haxtell's a good guy. He's a good coach. I mean, I think he'll.
Well, I did some research on Dave Haxtell and those teams that he had in North Dakota. He did a really good, like, that was his team that pretty much won in 15 or 16, right? He kind of built that team. And then he unfortunately wasn't the guy to finish the job, right? And I think
it was
Seattle
Bradbury won with his first year.
Right. And I'm just looking at it from a Seattle perspective. This guy is known to be a good builder, good recruiter, a guy that, builds a good group of guys. I think that, once Seattle's good, I don't think he'll be the guy, but I think he's a good first head coach to build the team up. Does that make sense?
I don't know why I wouldn't be the guy if he built it, huh?
It just, that always happens though.
I don't
what I mean?
I don't think
you know what I mean, though?
Not be the guy.
No, but say Seattle takes 4 or 5 years to build their team and then they get good. I think they're, that always happens. Like, a guy builds the team and a new guy comes in and wins the championship, and this new guy gets all the praise. Well, this old guy that was in here the last 5 years busted his ass and built this team that just won. You know what I'm saying? That happens all the time.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate, but I like the hire though. I like this hire. It's not bad.
Well, we got to roll. We're running out of time. Trade. LA acquires Victor Arvidsson for a second rounder in 2021 and a third in 2022.
Yeah, there's that. That's a hell of a trade for the LA Kings. I think that this guy has underperformed the last 2 seasons, but from an LA standpoint, this is an immediate upgrade in your top 6 for the next 3 years at a really good cap hit of $4.25 million. Don't forget, from 2016 to 2018, 3 years, this guy scored 30 goals every single year. This guy is an elite goal scorer. He's been snake bitten the last couple seasons in Nashville. I think if you put this guy on a wing with Iafallo and Kopitar, I think he's going to pick up where he left off a few years ago. I think this guy just needed a change of scenery. And Darren Dreger said, a few weeks ago that they're looking to add 2 top 6 forwards, whether via, free agency or a trade. There's one right there for a very, very low cost. It didn't cost them much to upgrade at all.
Yeah, I agree. I think this is a good one too, and one that'll pay off for the LA Kings.
Yeah.
Some sad and tragic news hit the hockey world July 5th as Columbus Blue Jackets goaler Matisse Kivanix was killed at 24 years old in a 4th of July fireworks incident. Our thoughts and prayers go out to his family, teammates, and friends. I remember watching him play in Minot when he played for the Cooley Region Chill in the North American Hockey.
Yeah. And he stunned Team Canada this year in the World Championships when he was playing for Latvia. He shut him out in Game 1 of the tournament this year. Just really shitty news. 24 years old. Just reading the tributes of his former teammates, you can just tell how loved this guy was around the hockey world. So yeah, thoughts and prayers are with his family for sure.
You ready for 3 questions, Blake?
Yep.
It's one all, one shot, now the future before. Let's go.
It's time for 3 questions.
My favorite part of the show, 3 questions. It's my turn this week to fire 3 questions at Blake. Next show, he will fire 3 back at me. Question number 1, Blake. When and how much will Alexander Ovechkin re-sign for, and why has this been so quiet?
If I was a Washington Capitals fan, I'd be holding my breath a little bit that there's been little to no news on anything with Ovechkin. I think he leaves Washington. I don't think he resigns. I don't know where he's going to go, but I think he will be wearing a new uniform next season.
Whoa, bold prediction.
Yep.
I think he's in Washington. I'm not sure what the dollar amount is.
He made $9.5 million over a 13-year contract, his last deal. So I don't really think he gives a shit about money nowadays. I just think he wants to play hockey.
About 20 minutes ago in the show, you said Russians are the greedy bastards and all they want is money.
Oh no, okay, but if you're Ovechkin, this guy's at the last stage of his career. I'm talking about younger Russians.
I think he is the franchise in Washington, and I don't see it changing. So we'll see what happens with that. Question number 2: was Adam Fox the right choice for the Norris Trophy?
Yes, Adam Fox was the right choice. I thought he was great.
Okay, so you'd take him over Victor Hedman then?
Just look what he did this season, though. I mean,
so you take him if you were building a franchise, you take him over Victor Hedman.
That's not what this trophy's about. It's the best defenseman this season, not fucking in the future.
No, so you think
you sound like a salty Flames fan that he didn't sign with you? Is this a petty? Is this petty?
Not at all. I hate this award because I think people look at.
I feel like a lot of awards are based off the most points, and he had the most points.
He's not the best defenseman in the National Hockey League,
but he had the most points, and that's what it's all about. Which is dumb because the person that wins the Hart is usually the player with the most points, which is dumb. That's what the Art Ross is for, the player with the most points. Like it's, unfortunately, I don't really agree with a lot of trophy decisions. Like it just the defenseman that has the most points automatically wins the Norris.
Question number 3 is more of a trivia question than a question. And that is, can NHL teams make trades at any point during the year?
Yes, they can. They just can't play in the playoffs.
Well, no, you can't play. If you make a trade after trade deadline, then that player is not on your roster until the next season.
Correct. Yeah.
A lot of people don't think about that, but teams can make trades all year, all 12 months, but they wouldn't be able to qualify for a postseason roster.
I think they can play in the regular season. I just think they can't play in the playoffs.
I don't know, so check on that.
I think because remember.
So if we made a trade,
remember when William Nylander signed like the last second?
That's different, though. That's different.
that he would be eligible for the playoffs. He had he had to sign by that day to be eligible for the playoffs.
But I mean, here's my question though. From the trade deadline to the playoffs is usually about a 4-week span. So if me and you make a deal 2 days after the trade deadline, I don't believe that player can play.
I don't know. We'll have to look at that. I thought maybe you could play regular season. I don't know.
We'll have to look at that. Listener question comes from Matt Warner, Reno, Nevada. And it's a good question.
It's about the Knights.
Yep. Trade or keep. Marc-Andre Fleury wins the Vezina Trophy, but with 2 hefty contracts in net in Vegas with Lehner and Fleury, do you keep or do you keep Fleury? Do you keep Lehner, let Fleury go, or do you keep both?
I don't think that they're going to be able to keep both.
Why?
Well, I mean, if they want to get better, they're gonna have to add up front. They're gonna have to add another forward up front. Maybe you trade Lehner and
that contract.
What's up?
Who takes that contract?
What's it? 4 more years? No, it's 4 more years at $5 million.
Yep.
It's not a terrible contract. I just think that Vegas wasn't really thinking about Fleury when they did this. They thought that, Lehner would be the guy, and then Lehner got hurt this year. He got concussion problems, right? And then Fleury kind of stepped in and took that starting job back. But what I would try to do is put like a guy like Cody Glass in with Robin Lehner, give him like a prospect and a pick with Lehner, to kind of burden that contract, make it a little bit of a more incentive to take Lehner's contract and try to trade for like a top 6 forward. I think that would be the most logical thing to do. What about you? What do you think?
I wouldn't. I'd have a hard time letting Fleury go.
I mean, I would too. Yeah, he's got 1 year left at $7 million.
Even though he's
38, he's almost 38.
He's to be a UFA at the end of the year, but I think you roll the dice and try to you keep him, or even go 1 more year with them both and see what shakes out. And then I don't know. It's going to be an interesting dilemma.
I mean, what's the worst? You keep them and you ship one off near the trade deadline. What's the difference? I don't know.
Exactly.
It's a good problem to have if you're Pete DeBoer. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Although he's not the best at handling it, but I mean, it's a good problem to have.
Yeah, I know. It is going to be an interesting one, and I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how that one all plays out.
Yeah.
I don't know. It'd be hard to watch Fleury walk away from me, though, wouldn't it?
For sure, 100%.
It'd be a crazy
first Vezina of his career too. Doesn't that shock you a little bit?
Shocks me totally.
Yeah, me too.
Well, Stanley Cup has been hoisted. Time for what's going to be a wild and crazy summer, I think, in the National Hockey League as the NHL hits that COVID reset button, and we're back to normal hockey come next October. Some important dates to know. July 16th is the last day for waiver period. The July 21st is the last day. Well, excuse me, not the last day. That's the day Seattle submits their draft selections. 23rd, 24th is the NHL draft, and the big day we all wait for, July 28th, free agency opens. It's time for summer hockey news, and the Debate Hockey Podcast will be back for episode number 150 as we hit another milestone. We'll do that on July 22nd with a draft preview episode, and of course, a rundown of what's going on in that interesting NHL offseason that we face. Check us out on YouTube at Inside Edge Hockey News. Get on over to Apple Podcasts. Rate, review, subscribe. We appreciate everything. While you're on the internet, get on over to manscaped.com. Buy and use promo code DEBATE. Save yourself 20% off. We're going to ship it to you free. Great deals, great grooming, all from the Debate Hockey Podcast. Enjoy your summer. Heck, we're going to be back to talk hockey before you know it. Get connected. The Debate Hockey Podcast can be found on Twitter at Debate Hockey. Also, make sure you check us out on our Facebook page, The Debate Hockey Podcast. Brad Burud can be found on Twitter at Brad Burud, and co-host Blake Friars can also be found on Twitter at Friars_Blake. If you like what you hear, please rate and review us on Apple Podcasts. The Debate Hockey Podcast can be found on all major podcast players. And please consider subscribing to the Inside Edge Hockey News on Patreon.
Thanks so much for listening to this episode of the Debate Hockey Podcast with your host, Brad Burud. For more great content and to stay up to date, visit InsideEdgeHockeyNews.com and on Twitter at InsideEdgeHOCKE and Facebook at Inside Edge Hockey News. We'll catch you next time.
This has been a production of Inside Edge Hockey News Radio, copyrighted and distributed by the Inside Edge Hockey Media Group.